Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. Today we will analyze the declassified US report which talks about helping India to counter China. Just before the end of the term of President Donald Trump administration, the US has declassified a confidential report which talks about its strategy regarding the Indo-Pacific region. A key element in the document is the emphasis on offering support to India through diplomatic, military and intelligence channels to help it address continental challenges such as the border dispute with China. It also talks about steps to check China in other ways. So how should this strategy of the US be seen? We will try to analyze and understand this in the agenda today. We have with us retired diplomat Ambassador Jayant Dasgupta and retired Brigadier Vinod Datta. But before we begin our conversation, let's have a look at this small report.
The Trump administration has declassified its confidential strategy regarding the Indo-Pacific region, which sees India as a net provider of security in the region, a counter to the emergent China. The document notes that America's partnership with India is underpinned by a strong Indian military able to effectively collaborate with the US. The document calls for building a stronger foundation for defense cooperation and interoperability between the US and India, with focus on expansion of defense trade and increased cooperation on shared regional security concerns. It lays emphasis on offering support to India through diplomatic, military and intelligence channels to help it address continental challenges such as border dispute with China. The American strategy says that with a focus on countering Chinese predatory economic practices that freeze out foreign competition, it is essential to work closely with allies and like-minded countries to prevent Chinese acquisition of military and strategic capabilities. The document was approved in February 2018, but its declassification and timing are interesting as it took place just before the end of tenure of President Donald Trump. The White House justified it by saying the aim was to communicate to the American people and allies and partners about Washington's enduring commitment to keeping the Indo-Pacific region free and open long into the future. So it lays bare the American policy for the incoming Joe Biden administration. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guests, Ambassador Dasgupta and Brigadier Datta. Welcome to the program, sirs. Now let me begin by asking Ambassador Dasgupta about the US report which has been declassified on Indo-Pacific and which basically talks about helping India through military, diplomatic and intelligence manners to contain China. How do you see this report, sir?
This does not come as a surprise to India because it was quite well known for the past few years that the US was looking for a cooperative approach from India and from other countries which had concerns about Chinese expansionism. So this in fact started at the time of President Obama in 2008-9, when President Obama had also signaled that the US would take a more proactive approach in the Indo-Pacific with its allies. So this, of course, is slightly surprising in the sense that it should not have been revealed because it preempts President Biden, President-elect Biden, from going ahead and giving further heft to the same policy. So from that point of view, it is perhaps it was avoidable. But knowing President Trump's
Ambassador,
to preempt.
Possibly it was deliberately leaked just before the term ends.
Yes, that's right. It is possibly it was meant to preempt President Biden from having a free hand in what he wanted to do.
Right.
And try to certain framework.
Right. Brigadier Datta, you heard Ambassador Dasgupta saying that possibly it was leaked just before the term end, so that it kind of binds the hands of Biden, President Biden. What do you say on that?
Good evening. Yes, you are right that this report has, made a deliberate leak, and since it has been seen for last, say about almost present government, or especially the attitude of President Trump, has been pretty indifferent as far as the policy matters are concerned. And the events as they unfolded in the Capitol Hill, I mean, that's a testimony of how irresponsible the present government can behave. And yes, you see, the Biden government, or the president-elect, is going to strengthen its ties with India, because there are no two democracies, or there are no two countries who have as thick or as bilateral issues or relations as India and US has over a couple of decades. This situation was not there earlier, but now with the geostrategic changes in the Indian Ocean region or in the Indo-Pacific region have dictated that America takes a positive, approachable, and result-oriented approach towards India, because America knows that they will not be able to take on China alone. So they will require the assistance of India, who's also been affected very badly because of these territorial aggressions or territorial gains which China is doing, and the kind of maritime strategy it is following in the South China Sea.
But Brigadier Datta, if you say that it was deliberately leaked to bind the hands of President Biden, but at the same time, as you heard Ambassador Dasgupta also, and we know that the policy on Indo-Pacific or empowering or encouraging India against China was started by President Obama, and when Biden was vice president. So why should we suspect that he will not carry on with the Obama policy?
You see, these are the speculations, Khalsa, which are, doing circles. But by no stretch of imagination, America can take a totally 180-degree, turn from the policy which the present government is following towards India, and what the new government, which is going to be there after a couple of days, is going to follow. And as I told you, the geostrategic imperatives, they are so fixated, or they are so, visible, that the Biden government will not be able to take much changes. So yes, in a way it is good, so that the relationship between the two countries remain well cemented, and the interests are intact in the region.
As we discussed about with Brigadier Datta, that why should we suspect President Biden, since the new policy of encouraging India against China was started by President Obama, and Biden was vice president then. So why should we suspect that Biden will be softer on China, and maybe try to loosen that cooperation which India has developed, or US has developed with India over these 2 decades?
I don't think it is a question of suspecting President-elect Biden's, inclinations and his plan of action for the Indo-Pacific, which includes India, Australia, Japan, and others. It is a question of closing his options by making things which may be known in general amongst countries, but making it very explicit. And this is something which one never does in international diplomacy. And 2, it is very bad for US policy, because if a predecessor tries to spoil the environment for his successor, then the successor also feels a bit handicapped. So apart from that, there is, I don't think, much to to damage India's relationship with President-elect Biden's administration. Things will continue on an even keel. The only difference is that President Biden may feel slightly embarrassed and handicapped because the policy has been made public.
Right. So if we look at maybe in the past, recent past, so is US seeing China as a bigger threat or gaining, gaining stature or power? Is US seeing China like that?
There are a few things which will into account by the US. The first is the Chinese in terms of security have already become the economy in the world. In another few years' time, the Chinese will become the largest economy in the world.
Right.
The second is that they have already got the largest navy in the world. The third is that they have a huge amount of money which they are investing through the Belt and Road Initiative to increase their influence over many countries. In fact, more than 60 odd countries have been the beneficiaries of the Belt and Road Initiative. The next point is that the Chinese have just agreed into an agreement, which is the CAI with the European Union, which gives them a level playing field, more so to the European Union in terms of investment in China. So the Chinese are in fact investing hundreds of billions of dollars in various economies of the EU, which are reeling under economic recession and no growth. So the Chinese will have to be given due respect by the Americans that it is no longer a unipolar world. It has become, for all practical purposes in the economic arena at least, a bipolar world. Militarily, the Chinese expansionism is restricted now only to the Indo-Pacific. But the Chinese have shown an inclination to, for instance, forge a friendship with Iran. They have tried their hand at increasing their influence in the Middle East. So the Americans will have to contend with that and come up with a strategy for that. Right. So the short point is they also need the cooperation of the Chinese to make the climate change agreement start rolling once again. Because with President Trump, many Americans will have to take into account.
Right.
Look, prepared to take that leadership all around the world and counter China economic providing grants, assistance to countries. That is will also.
Right, Brigadier Datta, if we talk about US-India military relationship, I mean, it has been, we are a strategic partner, we are a military partner with them. And at the same time, when America wants India to be a military power, at the same time, when we see America threatening India with sanctions if we purchase S-400 defense system, missile defense system from Russia. So, how reliable can this partnership be with US?
If you see the last 4 years of the Trump administration, both the countries have shown a lot of improvement in relations. The basis of the relations has been economic as well as political. And it goes to the credit of President Trump that he could, take a lot of economic package in terms of selling American equipment to the Indian forces. Both the countries, they have a common interest where they are planning that, yes, they should have safer borders, they should have safer regions, and they are working on it. If you see the tripartite, relationship, with Japan, US, and India, and the Quad, which has just recently come, they all work towards the centrality of the ASEAN countries. So the defense deal with America has been so strong, and the US president were basically focused on getting those deals and getting further orders. If you recall, when he had come to Gujarat, that time also President Trump had said, yes, tomorrow we are going to unfold the deal which is going to take place. So the kind of economic package which he has taken for its defense industries, and the recent 2+2 dialogue which was there. The very fact that
we understand that the American, we have got so many deals with Americans, in the defense sector. But at the same time, if USA wants India to be empowered and military power, so we should be getting weapon systems wherever we get. The best weapon systems. So if we are acquiring S-400 missile defense shield systems from Russia, so why should Americans be unhappy about it and threaten sanctions?
You see, America has been always opposing about this S-400 deal, and it has expressed its concern and the annoyance also in past. America doesn't want basically Russia to gain from such deals. More so, if you see the Russian bent, it is more echelon towards China now. So America doesn't want that Russia should tilt towards China and create a bigger challenge for America, because America, as it is finding it very, very difficult. As the ambassador has already brought out, that as on date, Chinese Navy is one of the biggest. It has left behind the US Navy. So the speed at which China is increasing its footprint, it is an activity to watch. Secondly, you see, by getting these deals with alternate weapon system, America is going to strengthen their defense production, and they are going to get this kind of money in their country.
Right.
So it is now pressurizing. You should not go in for any kind of deal with Russia, especially S-400, which is a very big ticket, procurement which India has undertaken.
Right.
So concerns of America are reasonable, and they are purely driven by economic factors.
Yes. Ambassador Dasgupta, I will come to you. As Brigadier Datta said that America's concerns are reasonable. Do you agree with that? Because America's policy is that you buy weapon system only from us, nobody else. If you buy with somebody else, then you are not our friend. What do you say on that?
The American attitude towards India and other countries in this respect has been that you must join us quite unequivocally. You can't saddle both the world, have a relationship with Russia for military equipment procurement, and also be pally with us. So that has been something which the Americans have been trying for the past decade or so, to make India join their group. And when I'm using the word join, it is quite in a loose sense of the word. So this will keep going on. The Americans, of course, are fighting for global supremacy, for domination, and they want more and more countries to join them unequivocally, or their groupings unequivocally. And therein lies the problem with India. So if you are looking from America's point of view, by asking India not to buy S-400 systems from the Russians, they are right. But from India's perspective, our main threat is from Pakistan and China, and the S-400 system is going to enable us to tackle air attacks in a very effective way. Of course, the Chinese also have S-400 systems, and they are now asking for S-600 systems from the Russians. And if I may just mention, Turkey has also bought S-400 systems from Russia. The Americans have imposed sanctions against Turkey because of that.
Because Turkey is a NATO ally, so Americans felt kind of betrayed because you are an ally. So how can you go and buy weapon system from Russians? But India is not a NATO ally. We have an independent policy. So if Americans are expecting us to join them unequivocally, that means we had to give up our independent policy, isn't it?
As far as Turkey is concerned, it has built up a close relationship with the Russians, especially in military matters, because of the Syria conflict.
Right.
And the two forces have also worked together. Turkey has allowed its airfields also to be used by the Russians. So Turkey, being a NATO ally, was not supposed to be doing all these things.
Right.
So, there are boundaries which are disappearing, which are getting redrawn.
Yeah. Yes. Ambassador, that is why I was trying to make a distinction between Turkey and India. We are not NATO ally. We have independent policy. So we can go and buy from anywhere.
That's right. But even for NATO allies, hobnobbing with the Russians and having military cooperation with the Russians, that was not on 10 years ago. But that is now that is taking place in effect. And of course, India has always wanted to maintain an equal distance between Russia and the US. The Russians have helped us immensely in terms of military procurement, and it will be very difficult to suddenly shut the door on the Russians, because many of our platforms are still very much Russian platforms.
Right. Most of it, I guess. Yeah, Brigadier Datta may throw more light on this, because we have been over dependent on Russian weapon systems. What you will say?
You see, Khalsa, there was a reason. You see, when this NATO alliance was there, the Warsaw Pact countries, that was another alliance which was there. And why we got more attracted or echeloned towards Warsaw Pact countries was firstly the cost factor which was there. Because if you see the NATO equipment, it is more sophisticated. It is basically depending on, because there is in NATO countries,
and I think at that time we had a kind of socialist policies, not the capitalist as we have with now.
Yeah. Yes, we had that policy. And secondly, the equipment which was custom made for Indian Army was rugged and rough and tough. And of course, the cost factor was a very major factor. Secondly, the alignment of America was more towards China and Pakistan.
Right.
Though Pakistan was never helped by China. Pakistan was never helped by China. It has only been giving assurances.
Right.
So Pakistan should take a lesson to this.
Right.
So our 70% of equipment as on date is still from Soviet Russia or the Russian origin equipment which is there.
Right.
Yes, the equipment profile is changing in a graduated manner, and now our dependence on NATO countries for equipment, and especially America, is quite heavy.
Right.
Another point I want to tell you is about NATO countries. There are, say, about 22 countries in NATO.
We are running out of time. Maybe one brief comment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Please carry on.
So America wants to pull out from this NATO alliance and want to shed some of the countries, and Turkey will be the first casualty, because America is not able to sustain financially these 22 countries. So they are going to prune down the list, and I think Turkey will be the first one to exit.
And I think Turkey also is interested in that, but I think geostrategic space is changing. But the time of this program is over. Thank you both of you for participating in this debate today.
Thank you.
This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important topic on Monday. Till then, goodbye.